guys, and welcome once again to my film review, where today I will be reviewing Marcy May Marlene. It's a bit of a tongue twister, and it certainly mucks with your head for the duration of its running time, but it stars Elizabeth Olsen in her debut role. Now, you may have heard that name, as she is the younger sister of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, and she plays a role that is completely different to anything that her sisters have done. It's a very haunting performance. It's a bit of a coincidence that happened at the same time that I said haunted, but anyway, let's go on with the review.
She's just a picture who lives on my wall.
Now, Marcy May Marlene tells the tale of Martha, who's played by Elizabeth Olsen, who is a very emotionally damaged woman in this film after fleeing a cult. She regains contact with her sister in order to gain some help in this situation, but is plagued by flashbacks of her time at the cult and certain, let's say, graphic experiences that she suffered at the hands of her cult members. But also she is plagued and haunted by a growing sense of paranoia that the cult are still out there and watching her, and to some extent wanting her back. But that's up to you as an audience to figure out whether she's actually essentially going mad or is being watched and followed.
It's a dream for the future, the water for the sand.
Now, with that last sentence that I just said, this is the linchpin of the film. It's what will put people off, or it's what will really attract them to it and believe it's one of the best films of recent years. It is a polarising last 45 minutes due to this increasing sense of paranoia that develops within Martha. You aren't sure whether she's imagining it or whether she is really witnessing the cult chasing her, and it essentially leaves it open to you to decide what Martha is or isn't seeing. And that's what I loved about the film. It didn't patronise you, it didn't throw it on a plate for you with some sort of ill-thought-out, ill-conceived last 5-minute denouement. It really did leave it open to you as an audience, and to take that as a gauge, when I came out of the cinema with my friends, we discussed the film at length afterwards, discussed what Martha's character was going through, and how it was resolved, what we felt about the ending, and we talked about it at length in a very good way. And I think that was a very good yardstick to judge how I should review the film as a whole. From saying that, then, I would implore you to go and see it to make up your own mind, for one thing, but personally I really did love the film. I think that Elizabeth Olsen was terrific in displaying a complete spectrum of emotions, from happiness and joy all the way through to fear and paranoia. And it's not something that you see very often in a film, where a debut actress comes in and really does showcase what they're all about. And hats off to her, she did a great job, and she was helped and aided by a terrific supporting cast that included John Hawkes, who really is a unbelievable talent in Hollywood and needs to get more scripts on his table, because he played the role of Patrick, the leader of this family cult, and he had this fantastic air about him of someone who was very welcoming, warm, inviting, spoke true family values that would seduce a lot of young teenagers towards that walk of life. But underneath the surface there was an aggression and evil brewing within him that you could see in his eyes from the outset of the film, and really did put you on edge, especially during the last half of the film. Now, also the director does a fantastic job of portraying the dual nature almost of this cult. One side of the coin we get the very attractive family values that they preach, you know, the fact that it's a very regimented farm, people have their own jobs to do, people are fed well, but at the same time we see a very almost malicious underbelly forming within the cult, and we begin to learn through Martha's eyes that this cult is much more than just, you know, a happy-go-lucky hippie outfit. There are very, very dark forces at work within it. Now, the score as well adds to this heightened sense of danger which is brewing within the cult, and it contains mostly country music, which you've probably heard from the early part of this review, as John Hawkes' character Patrick plays that song midway through the film, and it really does twist country folk music in such a way that you might not necessarily listen to it again with the same deaf ear that you have done in the past. And I would implore you to actually download the soundtrack, because I've listened to it myself and it's absolutely fantastic. So you've heard the crux of my review, but what would I actually give it out of a score of 5? Well, I myself love the film, but there is a pervading sense of ambiguity that haunts the film in the latter half that may put off some viewers. But saying that, the performances were fantastic, the score was absolutely terrific. I mean, I'm a big advocate of country and folk music anyway, at the best of times, so I did really enjoy the soundtrack, but the cinematographer and the director captured rural America in a fantastic light, almost like a picture postcard, if you will, for that area of the world. But saying all of this, and taking into consideration the ambiguity and divergence of plot within the latter half that may put off some viewers, I'm going to give it 4 out of 5. Hope you enjoyed that, guys, but in the meantime, check out my blog at contemptforarts.blogspot.com, or likewise subscribe to my YouTube channel, Gunther0412. Comments and feedback are much appreciated, but leaves me to say, have a great week, and I'll see you soon.